Hi there, I'm Nikki. This is Pin Cut Sew. So glad you're here. Today I want to chat about some things that I've been making because I've sort of found myself on this accidental series of videos that I'm calling Use It or Lose It because, as you know, my sewing space is very small, and over the last few years I have acquired more fabric than I have used. This is kind of unlike me. I feel like I wasn't much of a stash builder until I started more improv quilting and I needed some specific things. You know, it snowballs. But now I have these drawers full of fabric that I've had for several years that I still like, but I'm not sure how to use them. Like, what am I gonna do with a piece of Snoopy fabric, you know? I'm not gonna quilt with that. Unless some crazy opportunity comes along and somebody's having a baby who really loves Snoopy. So like, it's hard to just save all these like novelty fabrics and fun prints for a just in case scenario. So what I've been doing is trying to find ways to use them up. So a couple weeks ago I posted a video about the little the wonky 4-patches I was using to use up my drawer of smallest scraps, and that was so successful that it really spawned some new ideas on using up my next 2 drawers of fabrics. Also, I have an art teacher. I've been taking art classes, and my daughter Layla works there too, here in Louisville at the Visual Arts Academy and Studio. And the owner of the studio, he's really been wanting to replace the stuff in the retail portion of his studio with more handmade things and artisans things and locally made things, and has been after me to make some stuff to sell in the shop on consignment. So this is not something I usually do. I sell patterns, not products, most of the time. And I present education here on YouTube, so that's what like my business is actually about. But I also really want to support the studio, and then I realized this is a great way to use up these fabrics. So I got busy. So today I have 6 things that are super easy to batch sew a bunch of at once that are crowd-pleasing things. And the reason this might be valuable for you, because you're probably not sewing for an art studio's shop, is because there are times when you want to sew like a gift for each person in a group, but it can be challenging to individualize those things. And also they need to be quick projects so you can batch sew. I'm gonna explain batch sewing in a minute too. So for example, you have a book club, a quilting group. You're going on a family vacation and you want to bring everybody a little something. You're going on a girls trip and you want to bring everybody a little something. You're doing an ornament exchange, or you want to give friends little something gifts at Christmas. Ornaments are perfect for that. Or maybe you don't know the people you're gifting well enough to choose a fabric specifically for them every time. So here's what I like to do in that scenario. And in fact, last year I did this. We went on a family vacation, 27? No, that can't be right. There was a lot of us, 20 something. With my husband's side of the family, we all took a trip to Florida, and I wanted to bring everybody a little something, so I made a bunch of coffee sleeves. I made more than we needed so that everybody could pick their own. So I think I made 27 that time. I made plenty of manly ones, girly ones, all styles, so that everybody could choose their own. And so this is what I like to do with friend gifts too, especially at Christmas. I love to make little ornaments, and they're all just a little bit different. So I've shared about these before, but Layla can pop a picture up of some of the ornaments I've made in the past. So like once I made the little Matryoshka doll ornaments, they're all a little bit different. I had them in a cute basket. Anybody who came by, I would let them pick one. Last year I made the mice pattern. I love that pattern. I should definitely batch sew some mice this Christmas because I think I only made a few. So letting people pick from a variety of things is a good way to get around that fear of making something out of a fabric somebody might not like. Okay, so those are some scenarios, and Christmas is coming. I know it is only August and people keep criticizing Hobby Lobby and Michael's for putting out Christmas stuff, but it's for us. It's for the crafters, y'all. We have to start. We need to start if we're not gonna be stressed, okay? So if you are wanting to make things, you don't have to. Remember, I have a video about you don't have to make the gifts. So if you want to though, or if you have an event coming up, or if you're trying to sew things on consignment like me and you need fast things, these are 6 projects that I am making for Voss that are also working on clearing out my stash. So I started last week. I delivered him 10 of this flat pencil pouch. This is my personal one, but this was a great way because I have a drawer full of fabrics that are maybe like, I don't know, like 8 or 10 inches that aren't big enough to go in my main fabric drawer, not small enough to go in my tiny scraps drawer. And that's where I keep them in a bin in there. So I pulled that out and I challenged myself to find 10 fabrics and linings to make 10 of this flat pencil pouch. And then I matched them all with zippers. That's the part that took the longest, choosing the fabrics, matching the zippers. After that, I sewed each one in 10 minutes. So this is a 10-minute project after cutting. And I was able to make 10. Layla told me though that 5 of them sold on the first day and only one of them Seth bought, the owner. Probably the Star Wars one. Okay, so I'm already gonna have to make more of these, but I will link to these zippers too. You can get really fun zippers, or you can buy the YKK brand that have like the larger pulls. Super fun. I also have patterns for all of these projects in my shop, which I will link you to below, so you can go grab them. And before I move on, if you're liking this video, give it a like. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe, because I have so much fun stuff coming up. Quilting, garment sewing, Christmas, Halloween ideas, fall sewing ideas. It's gonna be fun. Okay, next, where's my trusty notebook? Oh, so the next thing I did in the same bin, because I did clear it out quite a bit, but it was overflowing before and now all of them actually fit in there. I just cut out several coffee sleeves. Coffee sleeves are one of my favorite go-to. I feel like I've probably made well over 100 coffee sleeves. My family, all 5 of us, love them. We always keep one in the car, in our purse, whatever. Because when you get iced coffee, you want to have your sleeve so your hand doesn't freeze off. And when you get hot coffee, I know they do give you one, but aren't these just cuter? So this is a very popular pattern in my shop. My husband really wanted this straight. He put this fabric in my Christmas stocking so that I could make him a coffee sleeve. So it's a whole yard though. Like, what else am I gonna do with Stranger Things fabric? Anyway, I cut out a bunch. I cut out some cute fall ones. We all have Christmas ones too, it's fun. And this is what I mean by batch sewing. So last time I did a video about batch sew, like gifts to batch sew, some people asked, what do you mean by batch sewing? Here's what I mean. First, I picked all the fabrics. Then I cut them all out at once. And then I cut the interfacing pieces all out at once. So I have 15 interfacing pieces. And then I'm going to put white thread in my sewing machine. I'm going to sew them together all at once. And then I'm going to turn them all, press them all, insert the interfacing all to all of them, top stitch all of them, and then add the Velcro to all of them. So it's like step by step, but instead of sewing one at a time, I'm doing 15. Sometimes if you're sewing like 20 or 30, I like to work in batches of 10 just so I don't like want to die. So the only issue sometimes with batch sewing though is the thread color. So all of these except these can be sewn with white thread. Like some of them I would choose a different color if I were just sewing one. But since I'm batch sewing and I'm wanting it to be a little faster, I'm just gonna use all white, except these. But I'm still gonna sew them together, right sides together with the white thread because it's not gonna show. I'll just change to black top stitching thread for the last 2 steps. So that's kind of a way to get around that. White or natural color thread works for most things though. Okay, the third thing is book sleeves. So I'm excited to sew some book sleeves to go to the art studio because these are really versatile. This one is holding my Kindle. Isn't that cute? And this pattern comes with 3 different sizes. The largest one holds my iPad even, my Bible. The medium-sized one is probably the most useful for the most number of books though. So I use book sleeves because I bring a book with me everywhere, or I have my Kindle and I just want to toss it in my tote bag and not worry that it's going to get messed up or that the book pages are going to get messed up. So book sleeves, this has been a very popular pattern. I was actually surprised because I think most people would be like, what the heck do you need that for? But I really think that this would be a good way to clear out my main fabric drawer because I can make them in all the sizes and they'll really make a dent in some of those fabrics. So I'll probably make maybe 5 of each size to start and see how they go. Next, I'm very excited about this one because I just had this idea yesterday. This is the moleskin journal cover that I designed, and you can buy this pattern in my shop. It is specifically made for these moleskin journals. So they're specifically sized for that, but they make ones that are plain paper that you can use as a sketchbook. And so I want to make to sell in the studio some of this, but I'm not going to make them quilted. Let me show you what I have. I have this amazing set of Charlie Harper fat quarters. If you're not familiar with Charlie Harper, he's an artist, an animal artist. So I got this in my Christmas stocking last year. Let me just show you a few of them. And since he's an artist and I'm sewing for the art studio, I thought I would make moleskin journal covers out of these Charlie Harper prints. I think they're so sweet. And I think this is kind of a lesson too, look at the flamingos, in using the precious fabrics, because I was sort of saving these, maybe thinking I would hit on some quilt idea, but I think I'll still have enough scraps left to make other things for myself. And I think that these journal covers, I love this one. I might keep this one for myself if I make a journal cover, but I think these journal covers will just be so well received at the art studio. And so I'm excited to make some of these journal covers. These are also a great way to use up languishing quilt blocks. This was a small crazy quilting block that I had laying around that I made one out of. Okay, last but not least, I love to make these little fabric bookmarks. You can get so creative with them. You can see I use small scraps on this. So this is like a small scrappy project if you're trying to use up smaller things. Bookmarks, so fast, so easy. They're quilty, so they're nice and flat. One person asked me, like, don't they make your books like pop open? No, they don't. I've never had that happen. And because they're fabric, like I have a leather bookmark that's pretty thick, but it's slippery. So that one does fall out of my book when it's in my bag. This has never done that, I think, because it's fabric on paper, which is technically fabric a little bit, right? I mean, what am I trying to say? There's like fibers, there's fibers. So it kind of clings and it stays in. I don't know, it doesn't fall out. So bookmarks too, you can watch this tutorial. It's kind of one of my older ones, so hopefully it's not embarrassing. But this is the final batch sewing project that I have. So if you have anything else, any good ideas, the other thing he has asked me for is aprons. Because he thinks the ladies have told him that they would love to have their own art aprons. So, but that's not, I don't usually buy fabrics in 1 yard increments. The apron pattern I have is for 1 yard, but I think I could, but first I need to go clear out some of these fabrics. Maybe I should go through the drawer and see which fabrics I do have enough of and make some aprons. I'm really liking this sort of challenge, like putting parameters on these projects, and it feels really good to be clearing some of this stuff out because I've just been feeling, you can see I took the gallery wall quilts off of my wall because the projects I have going, like I don't usually have so many going at once. And so I made a list of things I just need to finish. And then every time I'm tempted to start a new one, I'm like, no, Nikki, you have to finish. I'm such a finisher. So this quilt probably will come back in the future, but I don't know. I don't feel like now is the time. I'm in this really small space. I got more back into garment sewing recently. We are still trying to move. Some people have asked me if we're still moving. The market is just super sluggish right now, and it is a really unique house on a unique property, and so the buyer pool is small already. So we might end up staying. I don't know. So, but I mean, we've wrapped our heads around that, and I am content with either way. So this might be my sewing space for another year, maybe more, which is totally fine, but I need to make it so that I can function in it better and I'm not cramming stuff everywhere. So your tips for that would be appreciated. I do pretty well in this small space. You've seen my videos about the organization and everything, but sometimes with the house and with my sewing room, sometimes with my wardrobe too, I just feel like there's too much. I need to go through. So maybe you can relate. I don't know. Tell me about it in the comments, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.